Hello, y'all. I have finally made it to the end of the poems in this book. And when I say I'm excited, because it is a solid 10:30. I have been doing this for a long time. And I'm tired, y'all. I'm starting to lose my voice. It's just getting out of hand. But here we are, me, Samuel Alexander, finally making it to the end of the stretch. And ooh, six more books to go. Isn't that just exciting? Can you feel it? Can you? I can't. Um, but here we are. Now, this one, I did not like reading it the first few times, and I considered taking it out. But in order to meet my page count for a hardcover, I needed it to be 67 pages long. And I think I may have taken a poem out of there. So I've lost a page. I am not beyond just putting a dot on a page or inserting an extra page into here, like a permanent extra page, to make that count. But because seven is an odd number, but I don't think it's 77. It says 67 because my pages are numbered. So it has 67 pages that aren't the beginning matter. And the separate, yeah, whatever. I'm explaining too much. But this this took some growing on me because I wrote this when I was in my late 30s. And I've never really liked it, and I don't know why. Like, it just kind of sat there in the poetry blog. I don't even know if I put it on the blog. I might have. Yeah, I think I did. And I don't know. But the thing is that it fits Dario very well. And so I laughed it and I read it a few times. It's growing on me. Man, my stomach is growling because clearly I'm hungry. I'm not. But I'm gonna eat some. Oh, I am hungry. That sandwich that I did make a couple of videos back, way back on poetry number 5, that I said was number 4. So clearly I am hungry. Ah, who knew? Um, but yeah. I still have mixed emotions about it, but what do I care at this point? So this is the final poem in my book Dario for my series I See Things in Blue. I See Things in Blue. And I'm actually somewhat elated to be here. I said I didn't have the energy, but you know what? Yeah, I do. I do have enough energy to be happy that I sat in this chair and I read all of these poems and I only screwed up on one. I did 3 takes because I did not make it to the poem in the first 2, which is pretty good. So mistakes and all, raw and unfiltered. Uh, this is the me that you get after dark with the circle light. And, it makes my face look all shiny. I don't have my glasses on, so I could be wrong. Oh, now that I've made it to the last poem, I have a confession. I am nearsighted, y'all. I know you know this because I say I can't see the time while I'm doing this, so I can't keep watch. I don't know how long any of these videos are because I haven't rewatched them yet. But it's complicating things because I have to take my glasses off to read because I'm getting old. And being nearsighted, I need things close to my face. Run with me here, and the tablet is just in that sweet spot where things are fuzzy. It's just slightly not far away enough, but it is also not close enough. And when I say because of how bright it is and the reflection from the light in front of me, sometimes it looks like there's something wrong with the font and there's some sort of fuzzy line going through all of the words. But as I move it, I realize that that's just because I can't see, because it disappears depending on how I'm looking at it. And the fact that I have made it this far without, fucking this up, any more that I have already is a miracle beyond miracles. It is the greatest miracle. And I can completely ruin this last poem. And at this point, I will not care because I'm still considering it success. And this one is in here for reasons, but after all that talk, I'm just going to jump right into it. And this poem is called The Reader and the Words. Writing. How do I describe it? Euphoric bliss as words bleed out from my fingertips and ink the pages of one's soul. Take flight into places the writer could never go. Leave impressions in the snowbanks of the lives of people that may have lost their way. In each word, there's an imprint, a message, a passage into a journey deep within, beyond even what the author experienced when they gave birth to inspiration, salvation, a connection that only words can make. A bridge into the dark places that make one feel all alone, into that personal place where words leap from the page and swirl in the darkness, glowing in the minds of the ones it is meant to connect with. Nothing exists except for them and the message. The release, the understanding, the cries of acceptance that breathes life in the dark and sends music into the hearts of those who feel their heart is beyond repair. Yes, writing can do all those things. It can warm the frost that has consumed the lost and melt it into warm pools of joy which they can cry in and wash away the scum that threatened to freeze them to death. It can cause anger in someone who thought they were beyond such emotions of hate and remind them that they are human, just like the rest. Words can give us wings to fly above and beyond the things that keep us grounded in places we ought not be in. Just close your eyes and let them mount into you, devour you like a slowly melting chocolate, sending tingling sensations through your body as every emotion that you feel elevates, multiplies, threatens to consume in a painful yet oh so blissful experience where you realize it's okay to let go, be free, be you. All these things can happen when there is just you and the page, the poem, the book, the song, the essay. The words become everything and nothing, and you are them, are one. That is what writing is. The music of going beyond what the writer is saying and to the place of how it connects with you. What it says to you, does to you, changes in you, makes or breaks you, and possibly reveals the truths that you try to hide so deep down inside. Even now, forget about the fact that someone else penned this, that it came from anywhere than for the purpose of being for you. Your eyes have touched it. It belongs to you now. This experience is yours and no one else's, and yes, you're allowed to be selfish, yet still share the word with someone else so they can claim it as their own as well. And as you surf the seas of the sentences and verse and muses that bring the words together in coherent combinations, take a dive and drown in the emotions that this brings. Hold it. Own it. Don't let it go. Envelop it for the moment and let it linger on inside for that time when you need to revisit, remind, experience again for the first time. The day when you first realized that you are not alone. Okay, I think the reason I have mixed emotions about this is that I very vividly remember this was supposed to be a love poem about the reader and the words. And what it ended up being is what I've said in the past few videos, that it was more about the reader, and how words can remind you that you are not alone. And that's a big part of Dario, is that he feels trapped within himself. And words are quite literally his defining thing. It's what he has. And reading, mostly, and in music, because he does a lot of singing. And this expresses what I've been saying in the past videos, that it's totally okay to just let something envelop you and drown in your own truths and use that emotion that you're drowning in to rise and, morph into something new. Or maybe the opposite happens. Maybe you become okay with the you that you are, because maybe that's your problem. Your race isn't about rising above, like a phoenix and becoming brand new. Maybe you're struggling with being the you that you already are. And words, poetry and art, I'm talking about words, but words are art. So paintings, even, you know, um, maybe sports is your art. Maybe there's something about, the statistics and the art of being the best at something. You play sports, somebody else plays the piano. There's always a way to use any sort of artistic endeavor to land somewhere. Art isn't limited to the limitations that we place on it. You can find it anywhere, in anything. Just like I tell one of the backers at work that, packing is an art, because they're an artist. And if you look at it that way, you might find it's not as complex as you think it is. You take what you already know, and then you take the information that you're given. In this place, we're talking about words and poetry, and you smoosh them together and try to find a place for them to land where it's best for you. And then you're able to take something and do something with what you've been given, instead of just looking at it as this hard, unattainable thing. Can you slice it up into pieces that you can make relatable to your individual circumstance? And when you put it back together, what have you created? And so that's where this poem came from. But when I started writing it, it was supposed to be about writing and what writing means, and not about the emotional journey that readers go on when they read the words. And so a lot of the times when I read it, it just felt awkward and clunky, and it didn't land. But the more I sink into it, the more it makes sense. And seeing it in the context of the Dario really makes it land. And I guess that's what I really needed, because before adding it to this list, it was not one of my favorite poems. It was in the bottom bottom stack. Like, ugh, it's okay, but I wish I never wrote you. And now I can appreciate it, through new light. Now that I've given it a different space and I've taken the experience of writing the book, like I just said earlier, can you break it down and smoosh it together into something else? And by seeing it through the eyes of how my main character is, it's landed differently. And that's just fine. We go, and that's why I don't change anything. Like the poems from way back when I was, 14 or 15, they're still exactly the same. I'm not going to go back and rewrite the lines unless they don't work. But the emotional feeling and space that I was in that time can be altered depending on how you change and rearrange things. So if I change something, I'm going to think about what it was in its original form, And if it is going to destroy that, even if I hate it, that line is staying there. If I cannot not find a way to make something that I absolutely despise change and still mean the same thing and still give the same energy that was in the poem when I wrote it the first time, then I'm gonna leave it. And I'm just gonna have to learn to love it because I kind of feel like, as an artist of poetry, that if I can't revisit those emotions, even though I may have changed and grown, and I may not even really believe in something that I've written before anymore, I'm not going to change it and switch it and alter it because of how I am now. I'm going to read it from the place that I was in when I wrote it in the first place. And that's what I like about looking at the passage of time and seeing the similarities in how I formulate sentences now to when I was that 14-year-old in a crunch and I needed to pass this class, because there are some things and some ideas and some devices there that have just matured in the way that I use them because I didn't know what I had then. And that's what's actually, happened. And the same things happened in my book. If you read my bad books, the first ones, and then you progress through, you'll notice that there's something very similar floating through them. But I learned how to do the same thing better. And that's pretty much why we like a lot of our favorite authors and writers and stuff like that, because they write in a way that we enjoy. We know what we're getting when we read their stuff, and we hope that when we consume them, that we get what we expect, but we get it in a brand new package. So it's the same, but it's still different. And so that's kind of what's encompassed in this poem about how things connect with you and it being okay to live in those, feelings, because as the last line says, feel again and be reminded for the first time again that you are not alone, and be okay with that. And so that's it. I've got plenty more poems to do because I have to read them before I plop them in the book, because they're already in there. But I have to kind of like go through them to make sure that I still like them the way that they are, because it's mostly, now that I'm committed to reading them, I have to make sure I've lined them up so that I can do this. And so that's the next phase for each book, to embrace that I'm not memorizing them. And if I'm going to read them, I need to be able to look at it and see how I want to say it instantaneously, even if I don't 100% stick to form. I need a form. And that's my new journey. So hopefully you're here because you read the book. If not, hopefully now you're inspired to read the book. And if you absolutely hate how this whole situation, the poetry being handled, feel free to share it and tell somebody how much you hate it too, because you never know if someone else may like it for the reasons that you hate it. So feel free to hate too. That's totally, expecting everybody to like it, something that you created, is just wild to me. I'm totally team, please write that bad review when you read my books. They're fiction, and if you hated it, you hated it. I absolutely don't care. I might have a little bathroom cry, but I've actually learned a lot of things from some of the worst reviews that I've gotten, because even some good reviews are not valid. You can tell they didn't read the book, and that really pisses me off, because people are always like, oh, I'm like, I can tell that you just made this up on the fly. Some of these bad reviews are more valid than your good review. So you have to take everything for a grain of salt, and I'm definitely team write the bad review, which is why I stopped writing them, because I don't know what happened, but I just turned into this hater and I just stopped liking books. So I took a break. I couldn't do it anymore. But yeah, expecting somebody to like your stuff, everybody to like your stuff. And oh, if you ain't got nothing nice to say, then say it. I'm definitely trying to grow as an artist, so please say it. And I will either take it on or, suffering from anxiety myself, I will either not take it on. But I have definitely found some valid things that have helped my writing and some of the worst reviews that my books have gotten. And so grateful all around. I love when people get it and they write glowing reviews, but also there's always room for improvement. And depending on why you don't like something, is what's important about why you don't like something. Because just not liking it is strange. It's got to be a reason. What are they? Are they just as valid as the reasons why you would like it if you liked it? And if they are, yeah, I got derailed because it's the last one and I'm tired and I'm sleepy and I'm not editing any of that out. But where I got derailed, if you don't like it, still share it. Because exposure is exposure at this point. But mission accomplished. Glad I did it. If I read more poems, it's going to be better lighting because I'm going to do them in the daytime and not after dark. But yeah, if you made it this far, as per usual, thanks for stopping by.